Welcome back to Millers in Motion, day 2 for us at the 2022 RV Super Show. What are we doing today?
We are going to take a look at some rigs that maybe take home for us.
Yep, so we're essentially going to take you rig to rig as we go through them and give you our thoughts on them. Now this is specifically for us.
For us.
This doesn't have anything to do with what we think is better for you necessarily, so if you have questions we'd be happy to answer them, but this is what we're looking for. So with that being said, what are our 3 big things we're looking for?
Room for the dog's crate.
Yep.
A place to sit and eat and or work.
Yep.
And then since we'll be full-time, we probably need a decent amount of storage somehow, some way.
Yep. So also, we did start this off by looking at about 3 or 4 different brands specifically. So we've already narrowed our search into a handful of things. So just know there was more than just this. So right now we're at the Alliance booth.
Yes.
And we're going to look at a handful of rigs real quick.
It would just take us too many days to show you guys everything we've already looked at.
4-hour-long video. So.
All right, so first up is the Alliance Paradigm 372RK.
All right, so apparently the only Alliance Paradigm we're going to look at because they discontinued one of the models we wanted to see.
Right.
What's your first thoughts?
On paper, it met a lot of our needs. Had a place to sit for work and for eating, had a place for Michigan's crate, had decent storage. But I'd say overall it felt a little tight for such a big rig. And given the rear kitchen floor plan, I think that there's definitely some concern going down the road with the movement of things that will be in the kitchen area.
Which we do have other rear kitchens, but I think that the floor plan has to be stellar to take on that risk.
Yes.
So
I'd say for this one, it wasn't bad. It was probably not right for us.
yeah. Aesthetically too, it's not our cup of tea. Now all that can be changed. It's not a big bucket thing. Ultimately, we could make it work, but not our first choice.
Right. I'd say the biggest issue for me was that it just still felt pretty tight.
Right. Okay. So the next rigs we're going to try to go look at are the Vanley Beacons and Villanos, which are the 5th wheel version of Tiffin's.
From Tiffin, yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. I'm a little worried it's going to be very motor homey. So really big valances, that kind of stuff. But we don't know until we see. So we're going to go see. So if you can hear me over the crying baby, this is actually my dream list. I very much so would like the Super C.
Yes.
We can tow the horses, but it just doesn't have enough room on the inside for what we're looking for, at least a full-time in. All right, well, unfortunately, they don't have the Beacon that we wanted to see. We actually had 3 floor plans. They don't have any of them, but they do have it in the Villano in a similar floor plan. It's the 377 FL. So we're going to check out the Villano instead.
You're gonna reach me too.
Okay, so real quick, the difference in the Villano and the Beacon. The Beacon's just a step up, full body paint, just a touch better finishes, that kind of stuff. So that's really the only big difference.
But a lot of similar floor plans.
Yeah, the Villano's very, very nice, don't get me wrong. It's just decals versus full body paint, little teeny things. So the 377 FL, what are your thoughts?
It's comparable, first of all, to the Beacon 42 RDB, I believe. I don't know my thoughts.
So it would work, but you know, Tiffin makes a great product. Let me start by saying that the quality is there. You can definitely tell that when you walk through the rig, because they've made motorhomes for so long and they have their clientele that they like. Everything is very chunky, and I say that in terms of like if you think the valances, the woods and stuff they use look great. They're just very big, so they stick off the wall, and it makes the space feel smaller than it actually is, if that makes any sense. So for that, the feeling of it for us, right? The feeling of it for us just kind of eliminates it. So, and the fact that they didn't have the 3 floor plans we wanted to see, which we got close on one.
Yeah.
We're big into, you know, the right sign will lead us out the direction, and not having those floor plans here at the show makes our decision a little easier. So, all right, we're back in the car. Our fancy rent-a-car. It's a lot of show, and because of that, and Grand Design was very popular, which is our last rigs that we wanted to take you along, that we were personally looking for along this search. So, but because they're popular, also means they're very crowded, and so, and we're we are honestly trying to make a purchasing decision while we're here, if we can. If we can. So we had to kind of, for a moment, we filmed and all that, but we didn't record a lot of our initial reactions and all that because we wanted to focus on us spending anywhere from $70,000 to $150,000.
Well, the rigs were also so crowded that
Right.
sometimes it was hard to be in that proximity and whatnot, or to be able to have much of a discussion at all.
Sure. So, with all of that, we did start off with about 4 or 5 Grand Design rigs as a whole, 1 or 2 Momentums, and about 3 Solitudes. That's what we're looking at. I can tell you that pretty quickly we actually narrowed that down to 3 total rigs, 1 Momentum and 2 Solitudes. So those are the ones we're really going to talk about because we spent the most time in those.
So for the whole show, we narrowed it down to 3 rigs. That's pretty good.
So let's start with Momentum because that's easy. There's only one.
Yes.
For us, that's going to be the 399 TH. TH being toy hauler. So the biggest difference here between the Momentum and the Solitudes is going to be as a toy hauler. So there's a whole section in the back. There's a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
Not a lot of storage on the outside. That's one of my sticking points.
Huge down point. And to be honest, not as much storage on the inside as a lot of the other rigs had either. So functionally, it was functional in a very different way than the others.
So, anything else on that one?
It's also the most expensive, it's the longest, it's the heaviest.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you need to.
Right. So then the Solitude, we narrowed it down to 2. The 390 RK.
And the 375 Res.
So let's start with the RK because that's been in the mix for a while. The Res has been an outlier, but we finally got to really spend some time in one today. So the RK is what I thought it was when we first walked into it from the last time we walked out of it at the Fort Worth RV show a week or 2 ago. It's tons of storage. Tons of everything. That's the benefit of it.
I would say the most functional rig we were in today for us.
By far, not even a little bit of a close thing. Obviously, the kitchen's amazing because it's huge. It's in the back. The living room,
it's fine.
It's fine. It works. You know. So you start talking about our key points. The speaking of, there goes an Imagine right there. You can't see
ADD
it.
for the win.
Squirrel. The Mishra's crate situation, we would have to remove a couch. We don't mind doing that. We don't love doing that either.
The fact of the matter is you lose seats when you do that. So
right. For all of us. Two of us. Probably my favorite bathroom out of all of them.
Yes. Agreed.
It's the right amount of size and functionality for us.
I like the kitchen the best, obviously, and I like the bathroom the best.
I like the bedroom the best. Very same.
They're exactly the same in the Solitude, so that's a wash.
Yep.
But the good news is that both of those bedrooms would allow for a washer dryer, which as full-timers is important.
Especially for us. So then let's flip it to the
Res?
Yeah, what was it?
375 Res.
So let's flip it over to the 375 Res. Probably from a hominess feel, comfort feel, was probably the top one.
It was. When you walked in, it felt homey, it felt comfortable, but when you looked at the nitty-gritty,
right,
the functionality wasn't quite what the other one was.
It was also very, what am I trying to say? The functionality of it was a little less than the 390 RK. The kitchen storage, it was there. We can make it work, but we'd have to alter a little bit.
You have to hodgepodge. You have to think a little bit ahead. Yeah.
Whereas in the RK, toss it wherever you want, it'll all fit. Here you have to really kind of think about it. More of a traditional RV in the sense of you have to really think where you're putting stuff because you don't have that much.
And the same goes for the bathroom. The 390 RK has a much more
traditional RV bathroom.
No, the RK, rear kitchen. The 390 RK has tons of bathroom storage, whereas the Res has a little bit more traditional bathroom type storage.
It's decent, it's just not as much.
But when you think about full timing for 2 people, you just want to make sure that your needs are met. And the kitchen and the bathroom are the 2 needs.
So what are we going to pick?
Well, first of all, are we going to pick? Do either of these actually meet the criteria that we would sell our house?
I like the voltage. I'm just kidding.
Done.
I've been done. No, questions we're going to have to ask ourselves tonight are, do we like any of these enough to purchase at the show? To take advantage of the pricing, and I don't know that we're getting a better deal than we would have gotten back home, but we don't have to work very hard to get it.
And if you purchase now, you guarantee that prices aren't going up more in a couple months, which has been a trend.
Or weeks.
So that's one thing.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a question we're gonna have to ask ourselves, and we'll have to address it in another video, I think, because that's a whole other segment, and we're not done here. We have another day here, so this is the last video you're gonna see from us here at the RV show. If you haven't checked out our Tampa, Florida RV Super Show, whatever they're calling this thing now, overview video, check that out. It's a lot. A lot.
Hey, have you gathered the theme? It's a lot. It's all a lot.
A lot.
They tell you, but you're still not prepared for it.
So,
it's always a lot.
I guess we're not wrapping up, are we? So,
we're going to go to dinner. I think we're going to talk about this a lot more.
If we have more to say, we'll say it later. Or for you, and now.
All right, good morning. We took a minute to get off of our feet and leave the show yesterday, get some water, get a little bit of food, and kind of take a breath. And I think that that's good advice for anybody that's looking to purchase an RV. I think that you should be able to step away. You should be able to think about it and not be pressured into a certain rig or a certain dealer or salesperson.
Right.
So we're a lot more refreshed, and I think that we can safely say we eliminated one of the rigs in our top 3.
Yeah, so it's slowly getting lower and lower. So we're down to essentially 2,
and I have a front winner between the 2.
I do too as well. I don't necessarily know what yours is. That's a little terrifying, but now comes the fun part of literally just going back and forth with hopefully as few people in it as possible,
right,
to try and get a feel. And then the big question becomes is whether or not we should pull the trigger whilst we're at the show.
Right, and what incentive is there? Is the pricing really that much better?
Right.
Is there a perk to purchasing here? Quite frankly, we both have flights booked home, so it's not like we're taking it home today.
Right.
So
I don't think there's an expectation that we would be able to take it home from their side either. Typically, they're going to want to prep it and clean it and do all those things to it and fix anything that's wrong with it that they find and kind of do a PDI inspection on it.
And that's part of walking you guys through this, is figuring out the whole process.
Right. Plus, we don't have a truck. So, no, we have a truck, just not the right truck.
It's not the right truck.
Anyway.
So we have a lot to work out.
So, all in all, our search side, I feel like it was definitely worth coming to the Tampa show.
Yes.
We said this earlier, but if you're curious about coming to the show for your first time, make sure and check out the video we did last week on the overview. We'll talk a little bit about our final thoughts on the show, and we'll probably bring up our search a little bit there as well, just so if people see that video, not this one, they still get all the information. So.
Yeah, you got it. So we'll leave you guys hanging there because we still don't know which rig we like and if we're going to pull the trigger necessarily.
Right.
So we'll leave you guys where we essentially are.
It's just right here. So
still a little bit lost.
We're not really sure what the next video series is going to look like.
Depending on how today goes.
Maybe it's house sale and truck stuff. Yeah, we'll just kind of see. So join us next Sunday. Thank you for being here. What's that over there? Look over there. Just look over there. Hi, Mom.